Hey guys, good morning. This is Colt. Welcome back to another Tesla full self-driving beta video. It is Sunday morning, October 24th, and 10.3 just released this morning. 24 hours late due to some last minute issues that the QA team found, but otherwise released just as Elon promised. What I have on screen right now is a full set of release notes that actually came with the release. I'll put it up right here, but I'll also put it somewhere on the screen so you guys can read a little better. But otherwise, we're going to get started with our drive this morning.
500 feet, turn left onto Youngstown.
And one thing that I want to do every time a new release hits is basically put the car through a pre-existing route so I could kind of get a good feel on how the car behaves version to version to see, again, any noticeable improvements. I did read the release notes, but I didn't really study them as far as what specifically the changes were. I know a lot of them outlined so many clips being uploaded to highlight or determine certain sort of circumstances. They mentioned different percentage improvements, again, in different environments. But all in all, I feel that is something that the existing beta users and even people on the outside have been looking for, so they could quantify exactly what is or isn't changing to see if there's any notable improvement from version to version. So right there, flashing yellow, did stab the brakes a little bit. That's been present in 10.2. I'll go ahead and record that. And using that camera icon in the upper right corner is a good way to highlight an event for the autopilot team to review. My understanding of how that works is if it's a occurrence that happens that you either don't need to intervene or take over, disengage the system, but you want to flag it for review, whether it be slow to roll out from a traffic signal or something like that, where it's causing braking issues that it shouldn't be, that's when I use that camera feature right there. So sometimes I do it if I have to disengage, but I still feel it's warranted that I raise my hand basically and say, hey, something's going on, you guys should take a look at this. So that is when I use that there. So we're gonna take a quick trip out. It's about a 5-minute trip out to our local church, and then I'll do a return trip back to my neighborhood, and we'll again just see how the progress is as we go out and see if we could notice any changes with the system. So it's a little after 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. Download hit my vehicle, I think, a little bit after midnight Pacific. Got the notification on my phone. I was asleep, but when I woke up, I got it. I strangely didn't get the email yet that's saying 10.3 is getting pushed to your vehicle. I got it for 10.2 when I was first admitted into the program, but didn't get one since. I saw a few random reports on Twitter or on Reddit that some users didn't get it yet. So possibly they're just slower to roll out the emails, or they're backlogged, or whatever the circumstances are. But either way, the version was here this morning when I woke up, which is all good things. This is a local police officer next to us, so all good. We're handling this well. It's a little township, a little village here, slower speeds, good representation of normal town driving with light traffic and stop signs, red lights. So right here, red light for the straight traffic, but my green has a turn signal. Handling it well, handling it well. Okay, good. Slight slowdown into the turn. Accelerated nicely out of the turn. I couldn't have asked for anything better. It had a slight jerkiness in the wheel when it made the turn. Nothing that I think any outside person would notice, or even maybe even a passenger, but very minor critique, if anything. Nothing that I feel would be warranted to flag the system over or anything like that. So, but yeah, I saw on Twitter this morning a lot of the folks that have been eagerly waiting their inclusion into the beta program, the 99 out of 100. Congratulations to you guys. I'm sure you've already been out first thing this morning, because like many and like myself when it came out, it's like a kid at Christmas, right? You can't sleep. You've been waiting for this thing for so long, and your call it emotions get the better of you, and you just want to experience it as quickly as you can. So I get it. Congratulations to you. I've hoped that you've already had a chance to do a couple rides, couple drives, and to really feel what the system's about. Biggest single pieces of advice I could give, and it's things I've echoed in the past on my previous videos: just be attentive, be alert. Don't take for granted how the system is going to behave based off of past circumstances. Just because it handles a turn or a certain section of town or scenario well 5 out of 5 times, don't take for granted that it's going to do it well the 6th time or the 7th time. Because again, just like anything, the behavior could be erratic. It could be something to where, quite honestly, you don't know what it's going to do. So always have a hand on the wheel. I rest mine with my left hand at the 9 o'clock position. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. I found this is a good resting spot for me. And when the vehicle needs to make a turn, I just keep my hand pressure on the back of the wheel. I'm not gripping it, but my hand is still making contact with the wheel. I'll demonstrate it over here, even though I don't use my right hand. So when I know the vehicle's making a turn, I keep my hand pressure here, so if I need to grab, I could just go like this right away. But when I'm driving, I just keep my natural pressure with my thumb pushing down on the wheel to give it feedback. So like right here is what I would do. I keep my hand on the back right here. It's making a left-hand turn. Okay, it stopped. It came to a stop. I don't feel the system needed to do that. It cut into the other person's lane a little bit. Didn't see any traffic, so it probably didn't need to go wide, if you will. But otherwise, after the turn, I just rest my hand back here, and it seems to work for me, right? I'm not saying that's the way you need to do it or should do it, but I always just found that's the easiest way for me. So we're going to be coming up to the end of our first leg of the trip, and we're going to loop back around to my neighborhood. So that's first part, and the loop we'll do back is going to take me through a different set of roads and intersections, so it's not just the return trip in reverse. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and disengage or cancel here. So I'm leaving it on normal autopilot right now. I'm going to just put in an address close to my house, so we'll just do that. You'll pick up the address. Since I'm already in autopilot, it should go to full self-drive. There it goes. Okay. But yeah, as the existing beta testers have gone through, call it the different iterations over the last year, because we're at now 1 calendar year since the beta program rolled out, I'm sure the progress from where it was a year ago to where it is today is probably night and day difference. As we get these incremental builds from 10.2 to 10.3 to who knows what's next. It might be 10.4, it might be 10.3.1. Over the next course of weeks and months, we'll notice that same progress. So it's an exciting time to be a part of the program, and just know and realize the work that you're putting in is going to help shape this for a lot of folks. So it stopped back at the stop sign. It needs to creep up a little bit more. Okay, it's handling that well. Okay, that handled it very well. The only critique I would have of the system right there is when it was rolling out into the lane, it started to cut into the intersecting lane. So if a car was turning in, I could almost see as that being call it poor driving behavior, because you're starting to cut into the other person's lane. Maybe the system realized because there was no traffic it didn't need to keep its lane, or maybe that was normal behavior. So that's just something I'll keep an eye on as we move forward. So as you guys start to drive with the system and with the program, you'll notice behaviors that went very smooth, that you have no real feedback for. You'll notice behaviors, quite honestly, that you're going to be shaking your head at, that you're going to be cussing and swearing at your car, or getting embarrassed if you have someone with you and you're going to be like, what the hell, car, I thought we did this well. what's going on, or you'll have other ones just like that where it handled it just fine, but it wouldn't be how you would do it as a driver. So again, it's just a matter of critiquing the behaviors of the car. And in essence, the more miles, the more trips, and the more interactions we as beta testers can get behind the wheel, get the miles on the road, and in essence get that information and data back to the autopilot team, the better the car and the system's going to be for future versions. So again, it's an exciting time. It's going to be a stressful time in the same, depending on how you drive, where you drive. And truth be honest, driving under this at times can be more stressful than either A, normal driving, or even B, driving as you were under the safety score program, where you had to maintain your score between follow distance and hard braking and sharp turning and everything that goes into that. So be mindful of that. Don't get discouraged if it's a different kind of headache, is the best way to say it. Just know that your efforts is going to lead to fruition longer we go into the program. So all good things. Another thing I talked about in my last video was I'm curious to see how many total users will be under the beta program as all the 99 out of 100 folks get the beta. Because right, there was the original 2000 prior to 10.2. When 10.2 came out, it opened it up to all the 100 out of 100 safety score folks, and Elon estimated on Twitter, and I kind of felt the same way, it was going to be about 1,000 to 1,500 users that got admitted into the program. So let's just say a round number of 3,500 folks that had access prior to this build. With this build going out to more folks than 99 out of 100, I'm curious to how much larger the fleet is going to be now. If I had to guess, if it's at 3,500 now, I'm pretty confident it's going to effectively double the user base, if not triple the user base. So if there's not more than 10,000 individuals, or even 13,000 individuals, if they truly rolled it out to any and all 99 out of 100 safety score folks, that's my estimation. So there's going to be a lot more vehicles out on the road with this. I'm going to do a route change to this right here, just so it can do a different return trip back to where it needs to go, just so we can have a few different intersections right here. So I just disengaged by pressing up on the stalk. I'm going to wait until navigation reroutes me. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and re-engage. So if you want to be cognizant to what data you feed back to the fleet, if you need to disengage under your own accord, don't jerk the wheel, don't use the brake, press up on the turn stalk. That way, I don't know what the proper terminology is for it, but it's a manual disengage. It's a one that you wanted to do. And at least to my understanding, or to the tester's understanding, I don't know if it's ever been formally confirmed by Tesla, but that is the proper way to disengage if you want to. So just be mindful of that if and when you ever know you need to, but don't want to feed the autopilot team, call it false data or false information. But yeah, this first drive, granted there's not a lot of traffic, it's still a little after 8 o'clock on the East Coast. I just wanted to get out when daylight hit, just to get a good video out on the road to share with other folks, so they could see what 10.3 brings with the release notes, with the behaviors. But all in all, this has been a very solid drive. If I had to rate it, give it a grade, if you will, all things, I'd probably give it an A-. Just minor critiques with how it behaved, but otherwise it was smooth, it wasn't jerky, there wasn't really any erratic behavior. But again, I'm mindful of the sense, okay, there wasn't a lot of traffic, not too many variables, but for me, in my day-to-day environment, this is normal drives, this is normal stuff. I'm probably gonna go out and get breakfast after this or whatever. So again, this is normal driving behavior. Speed drops here to 25, which is why it's dropped so slow. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it, that's no problem there. As we get into more higher traffic scenarios or more unique, call it road interactions with other vehicles, we'll see what it brings. But all in all, for my first drive and first impressions on 10.3, I'm very impressed.
In 500
Handled
feet,
everything well,
turn left onto Lion Boulevard.
and I'm looking forward to analyzing those release notes a little bit more to see if I could identify, oh, okay, it says specifically they added more
Now turn left onto
incidences
Lion Boulevard.
of vehicle clips under this scenario. Okay, I noticed that, or whatever it might be. So more to come on that. Again, first drive, first impression. Good job, Beta. All right, nice. All right, guys, this is where I'm going to leave you. We're about right back where we started. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help answer. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.